Have you ever wondered why we spend a third of our lives asleep? For centuries, sleep was a biological enigma, one of the few basic needs of life that science couldn't fully explain. But recent findings reveal that sleep is not just a nightly escape. It's a transformative process vital for nearly every function of our bodies and minds. In the next 7 points, we'll explore the life-altering powers of sleep, from how it shapes our memories to its incredible effects on physical health. Each point unfolds a new layer of why sleep is far more than just rest. It's essential for living well. 1. Sleep as a lifesaver, protecting health and longevity. Sleep isn't just a break from the day. It's a vital lifeline, a force field that protects every part of our bodies, especially as we age. The more science uncovers about sleep, the clearer it becomes that this seemingly passive state is incredibly active, working hard to defend, repair, and rebuild us at the cellular level. In our 40s, 50s, and beyond, sleep transforms from an optional luxury into a core necessity, our body's nightly guardian. Just like we wouldn't ignore high blood pressure or high cholesterol, we can no longer afford to overlook poor sleep if we aim for longer, healthier lives. Let's delve into how sleep acts as our greatest ally, especially when it comes to shielding our heart, immune system, and overall longevity. Sleep has profound effects on heart health, acting like an overnight repairman that works to protect our cardiovascular system. Imagine your veins and arteries as a vast network of highways transporting blood throughout your body. Every time we sleep, these highways are given a break from the pressures of daily life, especially high blood pressure that taxes the walls of these roads. Research shows that adults over 45 who sleep less than 6 hours per night have a 200% higher chance of experiencing heart attacks or strokes compared to those who sleep 7 or 8 hours. The reason is simple yet compelling. During sleep, our heart rate slows down, our blood pressure drops, and our blood vessels have a chance to recover. Even missing one night of sleep raises blood pressure the next day, putting strain on this vital system. When our sleep debt continues, these effects accumulate, turning occasional strain into a chronic problem that accelerates aging and increases risks of life-threatening events. The effects of sleep extend far beyond our heart and blood pressure. The immune system, our body's natural defense against illness, also relies on good sleep to function optimally. Just like a soldier needs rest to stay alert and ready, so does our immune system to combat the daily influx of potential invaders, from common colds to more serious diseases. When we're asleep, our body produces cytokines, proteins that act as messengers to prompt immune responses. In fact, studies have shown that even a single night of poor sleep lowers the number of natural killer cells, a crucial component of the immune system that combats viruses and even some cancers. For those of us approaching or beyond middle age, when immunity naturally begins to wane, this protective effect is especially crucial. Sleep becomes our first line of defense, a built-in, no-cost immune booster that helps keep us strong and resilient. The impact of sleep on overall longevity is undeniable. Sleep acts almost like a reset button each night, allowing us to start the day anew with refreshed cells and a recalibrated nervous system. In an age where aging-related diseases like Alzheimer's are on the rise, the role of sleep as a shield against cognitive decline becomes especially relevant. Research has shown that the risk of dementia and cognitive impairment increases dramatically with sleep deprivation. During deep sleep, a cleansing process called the glymphatic system is activated, clearing toxins and harmful proteins from the brain. Among these proteins is beta-amyloid, which is associated with Alzheimer's disease. By getting enough restful sleep, we allow our brains to detoxify every night, maintaining cognitive sharpness and helping to prevent the buildup of damaging compounds. This benefit of sleep is akin to a gentle, nightly brain scrub that keeps us mentally agile, something especially important as we age and want to protect our memories and cognitive functions. Sleep doesn't only protect us from long-term threats, it also fortifies us against the small, everyday challenges that add up over time. Poor sleep is linked with increased levels of stress hormones, which, when consistently elevated, contribute to a cycle of tension, anxiety, and even mood disorders. This means that without sufficient sleep, our bodies remain in a state of fight or flight. A state that's meant to be temporary but instead becomes a constant source of wear and tear. Over time, this prolonged stress response takes a toll on our mental health, causing irritability, mood swings, and even depressive symptoms. Adequate sleep, in contrast, gives our nervous system a chance to calm down and our emotions to stabilize, making us more resilient in handling life's ups and downs. With good sleep, we're less likely to overreact to minor issues and better equipped to face larger challenges with a steady, balanced approach. For those of us concerned about weight and metabolism, sleep also plays a surprising yet critical role. Studies reveal that sleep deprivation disrupts the balance of hormones that control appetite. When we're sleep deprived, our bodies produce more ghrelin, a hormone that increases hunger, and less leptin, which signals fullness. As a result, lack of sleep can lead to increased cravings, especially for high-calorie foods, making it harder to maintain a healthy diet and manage weight. This can be particularly concerning in middle age, when our metabolism slows down naturally. However, with regular, sufficient sleep, our metabolism stabilizes, and we're more likely to feel satisfied with balanced meals, helping to avoid the pitfalls of emotional or impulsive eating. By prioritizing sleep, we support a healthier metabolism that aligns with our body's natural rhythms. As we approach retirement age, sleep becomes an essential factor in maintaining a quality of life that allows us to pursue our passions and enjoy our later years. Many of us view aging with some apprehension, worrying about declining health or diminished energy. Yet sleep is one of the most effective ways to sustain both physical and mental vitality. Think of sleep as nature's most powerful anti-aging treatment, rejuvenating us night after night. 2. The hidden link between sleep and disease prevention. Sleep is like the unsung hero in our quest for health. Beneath the surface, while we're blissfully unaware, sleep takes on a vigilant role, protecting us from the risks of disease that silently build up over time. The science now shows us that deep, quality sleep strengthens our defenses against conditions that have become all too common: heart disease, diabetes, cancer, even neurodegenerative illnesses like Alzheimer's. The link between sleep and disease prevention isn't just a theory. It's a fundamental truth that researchers have uncovered, revolutionizing our understanding of what it means to truly stay well. One of the most startling revelations is sleep's role in the prevention of cancer. When we think of cancer prevention, we often focus on diet, avoiding carcinogens, and staying active. Yet the reality is that sleep is just as powerful, if not more so, in protecting us against cancerous growth. During restful sleep, our bodies produce cells called natural killer, NK, cells, which are our internal soldiers against cancer. These cells roam through the bloodstream, identifying and eliminating cancer cells before they can form into tumors. Sleep deprivation, however, drastically reduces the number of NK cells, leaving us vulnerable. When our sleep is consistently cut short, it's like pulling the security guards from a building, leaving it open to threats from all directions. And this isn't an isolated effect. Studies show that a single night of poor sleep can lead to a marked drop in NK cell activity. This is particularly crucial for middle-aged and older adults because as we age, our immune system naturally becomes less robust. Sleep, then, becomes not just a daily habit but a life-sustaining ally. Beyond cancer, sleep has a profound impact on our cardiovascular health. Heart disease is one of the leading causes of death worldwide, and sleep is a key factor in keeping our heart strong and resilient. Just as the heart needs exercise and a healthy diet to stay in shape, it relies on sleep as its nightly repair time. Studies have shown that people who consistently get less than 6 hours of sleep each night are at a dramatically higher risk for heart attacks and strokes. Without adequate rest, our blood pressure remains elevated. Our heart rate doesn't have a chance to slow down, and our body is deprived of its natural rhythm. Over time, this constant state of high alert wears on the cardiovascular system. During sleep, especially in the deep stages, our heart rate slows, Our blood pressure drops, and the circulatory system gets a chance to recover. This is why many health experts now consider sleep as important as diet and exercise for cardiovascular health. Sleep deprivation also disrupts our metabolism, increasing our chances of developing diabetes. Inadequate sleep interferes with the body's ability to regulate blood sugar, leading to insulin resistance, a precursor to type 2 diabetes. During sleep, our metabolism recalibrates and blood glucose levels stabilize. This process allows our body to handle glucose more effectively when we wake. But when sleep is routinely cut short, these metabolic adjustments don't occur, leaving us more prone to high blood sugar and eventually diabetes. In fact, studies have shown that individuals who chronically get less than 5 hours of sleep are significantly more likely to develop diabetes. For middle-aged adults especially, a time when metabolic efficiency starts to naturally decline, sleep offers a way to slow down these changes and maintain a healthy balance. Perhaps one of the most groundbreaking discoveries in recent years is the link between sleep and Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is a disease that terrifies many, as it not only shortens life, but also steals memories and independence. And here, too, sleep plays a crucial preventive role. During deep non-REM sleep, our brain undergoes a cleansing process, flushing out toxins and metabolic waste. One of these waste products is beta amyloid, a protein that accumulates in the brains of those with Alzheimer's. When we sleep deeply, a system in the brain called the glymphatic system activates, clearing out beta amyloid and other harmful substances. But without adequate sleep, this cleaning process is disrupted, and these proteins begin to accumulate. Over time, the buildup of beta amyloid can lead to the formation of plaques, one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's. This discovery sheds new light on how sleep helps preserve our cognitive function and highlights the role of sleep as a preventative measure that starts years, even decades, before symptoms of Alzheimer's might appear. Sleep isn't just passive rest. It's an active state where our body undergoes vital restoration. Our immune system, metabolism, cardiovascular system, and even our brain health all rely on this daily downtime to function at their best. And while missing a night's sleep now and then might seem harmless, chronic sleep deprivation is a different story. 3. How dreams rewire and heal the mind. Dreams are more than bizarre narratives. They are essential to our mental and emotional well-being. Each night, as we sink into REM, rapid eye movement sleep, our brain enters a remarkable state where it's both intensely active and mysteriously detached from the rational mind. This is when dreams unfold, weaving together images, emotions, and fragments of memory in ways that sometimes feel surreal. Far from being random, these nighttime reveries play a critical role in our lives, helping us process emotions, solve problems, and ultimately heal from emotional wounds. Think about how you feel after a difficult day. There are times when we go to bed feeling overwhelmed, and by morning, things seem a little clearer, a little easier. This is not a coincidence. During REM sleep, our brain actually performs a form of emotional first aid, working through the pain and stress of our waking lives in a way that soothes us, leaving us feeling less burdened when we awaken. Studies show that during REM sleep, the brain processes memories and emotions, but with one crucial difference. It's done in a state free of noradrenaline, a chemical associated with stress. By switching off noradrenaline, our brains are able to revisit even the most difficult memories with a gentler touch, allowing us to process them without reliving the intense emotions tied to them. Imagine being able to watch a painful memory, like a scene from a movie, where you can understand it without the rush of distress. This is the gift of dreaming. The power of dreams goes even further. They not only help us process yesterday's emotions, but also prepare us for tomorrow's challenges. For example, people who face difficult or fearful situations often dream about these events before they happen. This isn't a form of supernatural prediction, but rather the brain rehearsing potential scenarios and preparing us emotionally. Imagine you're about to start a new job, and the night before, you dream about walking into the office, meeting your coworkers, or even making a mistake. In a way, This dream serves as practice, allowing you to encounter and manage these scenarios before they actually occur. The dream, as odd or jumbled as it might feel, is your brain's way of helping you face your anxieties and bolster your resilience. Dreaming also holds the unique power of helping us integrate complex or challenging ideas. During REM sleep, parts of the brain light up in unusual patterns, free from the logical order we follow in daily life. This is when the brain engages in what we might call creative thinking mode. When we dream, associations are looser and more free-form. The mind allows itself to connect distant ideas or concepts that it might not link in a more structured state. For example, someone struggling to solve a tricky problem might dream of unexpected, even unrelated imagery that somehow offers clarity or sparks a new approach. It's not uncommon to wake up with a fresh insight, a feeling of, I know what to do. This happens because the brain in REM sleep actively rewires connections, offering us creative solutions that might not surface when we're awake. Healing the mind through dreams is an ancient idea, one that modern science now supports with solid evidence. In research conducted with patients going through emotional trauma, only those who actively dreamed about their experiences found lasting relief. For example, a person coping with a painful divorce might find themselves dreaming about their ex-partner or reliving moments of conflict. Rather than keeping these feelings buried, the dreams bring them to the surface, helping the brain process and eventually make peace with the pain. People who dreamed of their trauma showed improvement, often feeling more emotionally balanced and less weighed down by unresolved hurt. It seems that dreams allow us to confront what we're not ready to face in the daytime, offering a safe place for emotional processing that's crucial for recovery. In REM sleep, we also see enhanced activity in the brain's emotional centers, including the amygdala, which is responsible for processing emotions, and the hippocampus, which manages memory. When we dream, these areas work together, allowing us to reframe painful memories without the raw intensity we might feel while awake. For those dealing with long-term emotional challenges, such as grief, anxiety, or even PTSD, REM sleep becomes a kind of nightly therapy session, gradually lowering the emotional impact of difficult memories and making them easier to manage. 4. The memory-saving benefits of a good night's sleep. Memory is one of the most precious abilities we have. Yet, without proper sleep, it's vulnerable, fragile, and prone to fading away. As we age, this becomes even more crucial. Imagine your brain as a camera that constantly captures snapshots of your day. Each memory, whether it's a new skill, a loved one's birthday, or an important task, starts as a brief impression. But without sleep, it remains undeveloped, a fleeting image that soon blurs. When we allow ourselves a full night of sleep, especially deep non-REM sleep, our brain takes those images and develops them, turning short-term impressions into long-lasting memories. The process is a remarkable one, where different stages of sleep contribute uniquely to both creating and protecting memories. Each night, as we drift into deep, slow-wave sleep, our brains perform what could be compared to a digital transfer of information. During this stage, memories are effectively downloaded from the hippocampus, which temporarily stores new experiences, and uploaded to the cortex, where they are safely stored for long-term use. The hippocampus, a small yet critical region of the brain, is like a mental USB drive with limited capacity. Throughout the day, it captures and holds on to new information. But as we sleep, our brain begins the work of clearing that drive. By moving memories from the hippocampus to the cortex, sleep frees up space for new learning the next day. Think of it as an ongoing cycle of emptying your inbox, allowing you to wake up each morning with the capacity to process and store new memories. One study illustrates this beautifully. A group of young adults was given a learning task in the morning, followed by a memory test later that day. Half of them took a nap, while the other half stayed awake. In the afternoon, both groups were tested again, but only those who napped were able to learn and retain more information. The difference was sleep. Those who had taken a nap had effectively refreshed their memory stores, giving them an edge in learning the new material later in the day. This discovery reveals something profound. Our brains have a saturation point. Without the reset that sleep provides, we can hit a learning ceiling where any additional information simply won't stick. Interestingly, this memory-saving benefit of sleep is not limited to humans. Studies on animals such as chimpanzees and even rodents show that sleep plays a role in memory consolidation across species. In experiments, animals that slept after a learning task remember the information better than those kept awake. This indicates that the process of memory consolidation during sleep is deeply rooted in biology, reinforcing its importance as an evolutionary advantage. In other words, sleep is a universal tool that nature has crafted to protect knowledge and experience. It's fascinating to realize that this nightly reset, this process of transforming fragile impressions into lasting memories, is something we share with other creatures. For older adults, this process becomes even more essential. As we age, the quality and depth of our non-REM sleep often decline. This decrease can directly affect our ability to retain new information. Studies show that older adults with reduced slow-wave sleep tend to experience more memory issues compared to those who maintain deeper stages of sleep. This connection between memory loss and diminished non-REM sleep has led researchers to explore ways to enhance sleep quality in aging populations, with the goal of helping protect against cognitive decline. The evidence suggests that improving sleep could be one of the most powerful tools we have for preserving memory and mental agility as we grow older. The benefits of sleep extend to helping us retain motor skills as well. Learning isn't only about remembering facts, it's also about embedding physical skills. When we practice a new physical activity, whether it's a golf swing or learning to play the piano, sleep is what allows these skills to stick. During certain phases of non-REM sleep, our brain practices and refines these motor skills, embedding them into our muscle memory. After a good night's sleep, these actions feel smoother, more natural, almost instinctual. This offline rehearsal during sleep helps to automate these skills, allowing us to perform them with less conscious effort. It's no coincidence that coaches and instructors often advise students to sleep on it after a challenging practice session. 5. Why sleep regulates our appetite and weight. It's a bit shocking to think that something as passive as sleep could be directly linked to something as visible as our weight, but science now confirms it. Sleep and weight are deeply intertwined. When we're well rested, we naturally make better choices, not just about what to eat, but also about how much we eat. But when we're sleep deprived, all bets are off. It turns out that a lack of sleep doesn't just make us feel groggy or irritable. It can trigger a cascade of biological reactions that disrupt our appetite, making us crave food that isn't necessarily good for us. This change is all the more impactful as we age, when our metabolism might already be slowing down and maintaining a healthy weight becomes a bit more challenging. One of the main reasons sleep affects our weight so significantly has to do with hormones, specifically leptin and ghrelin. These two hormones are key regulators of our hunger and fullness signals. Leptin is often described as the satiety hormone. When levels of leptin are high, our brain receives a message that we're full, and we can comfortably step away from the table without a second thought about that extra slice of cake. Ghrelin, on the other hand, is known as the hunger hormone. It sends signals that we're hungry and need to eat. However, when we're sleep deprived, these hormones are thrown out of balance. Research shows that even one night of poor sleep can lower leptin levels while boosting ghrelin, essentially flipping the hunger switch on high. This means that we not only feel hungrier, but also less satisfied, leading to an almost insatiable appetite. Imagine trying to go about your day with these constant urges to snack. It's not just a challenge. It's a recipe for overeating. These hormonal shifts become even more problematic when we consider the types of food our sleep-deprived brain tends to crave. Research reveals that when we're running on less sleep, our brains show heightened responses to foods high in sugars and fats. This isn't a simple preference, but a real biological drive. In fact, studies involving brain imaging have shown that the regions responsible for controlling impulses weaken when we're sleep-deprived. In contrast, The areas associated with pleasure-seeking light up, creating a situation where our brains are primed to seek out and indulge in highly caloric foods. Think about those times you've reached for sweets or chips after a late night. It wasn't just lack of willpower. Your brain was steering you toward these foods, overriding your usual restraint. Interestingly, this craving isn't only about satisfying hunger. It's also about reaching a state of emotional comfort. Sleep deprivation doesn't just make us tired. It also leaves us feeling a bit emotionally frayed. And as many of us know, food, particularly comfort food, can temporarily lift our mood. When we're well rested, we have the energy and mental clarity to find balance in our lives, including what we eat. But without adequate sleep, we may lean on food as a quick fix to feel better, even if just for a moment. It's no surprise, then, that sleep-deprived people tend to gain weight over time. It's not just the extra calories, but also the shift in emotional needs and biological triggers that makes managing weight harder when we're not well rested. One study highlighted this effect in a clear, real-world way. Participants were divided into two groups, one allowed to sleep a full 8 hours and another restricted to just 5 hours per night. Although both groups were given the same types of food and encouraged to follow a similar diet, those in the sleep-restricted group ended up consuming significantly more calories than their well-rested counterparts. Not only did they eat more, but the type of food they chose leaned heavily toward high-calorie options. Their bodies, starved of rest, were driving them to seek out quick, energy-dense foods to compensate for the lack of sleep. This pattern persisted throughout the study, showing that when our sleep is compromised, our bodies seem to go into a kind of survival mode, pushing us toward the quickest forms of energy we can find. For middle-aged and older adults, this dynamic between sleep and weight becomes particularly relevant. As we age, maintaining a balanced metabolism becomes more challenging. Our bodies are naturally inclined to retain weight more easily than in our younger years, and a lack of sleep only magnifies this effect. When sleep is compromised, not only do we consume more, but our metabolism may also slow down, compounding the effects. It's like driving with your foot on both the accelerator and the brake. The engine strains, but progress is minimal. In the context of sleep, this strain can lead to long-term weight gain and a host of related health issues, from type 2 diabetes to heart disease, both of which are closely linked to weight and metabolic health. Sleep also plays a vital role in energy conservation and usage. When we sleep, our bodies perform essential maintenance that ensures we're ready for the next day. But without sleep, our bodies become less efficient in using and storing energy. The energy we should be preserving for physical activities is often stored as fat instead. This storage mechanism might have helped our ancestors survive when food was scarce, but in today's world of abundant food options, it's not as useful. Rather than helping us survive, it ends up encouraging weight gain. 6. Nightly immune boost. Sleep as nature's healer. Sleep might seem like a simple rest, but behind closed eyes, a vital battle unfolds. Each night, while we sleep, our immune system powers up, restoring and preparing to defend us from the endless pathogens we encounter daily. Just as our muscles need exercise to grow strong, our immune system relies on sleep to stay vigilant and resilient. This nightly boost is one of our body's most powerful, yet often overlooked, defenses against illness. Whether it's a common cold, a nasty flu, or even something more severe, sleep acts as a frontline healer, strengthening our immune defenses and fortifying us for what lies ahead. When we come down with something like the flu, our body often craves sleep, and for good reason. Studies show that during an infection, the immune system sends a strong signal that prompts us to rest. This response isn't just a byproduct of feeling unwell. It's a strategic demand from our immune cells, calling for extra energy to fight the invaders. While we sleep, our body produces more white blood cells and releases cytokines, proteins that act as messengers, amplifying the immune response to tackle infections. In short, sleep fuels our internal army, giving our immune system the resources it needs to act swiftly and effectively. Think of it as a healing force field that strengthens with each hour of rest, enabling us to ward off threats more successfully. On the other hand, sleep deprivation has the opposite effect, depleting our body's natural defenses. Missing even a single night of good sleep can reduce the activity of natural killer cells, key players in the immune system that attack viruses and even tumor cells. Research shows that after a night of poor sleep, the body's immune response weakens significantly, making us more vulnerable to infections. This decline is not just temporary. Even short-term sleep loss can leave lasting effects, diminishing our ability to fight off diseases long after the sleep debt has been incurred. And just as a cut takes longer to heal without proper care, our body's response to pathogens becomes less effective without sufficient sleep. In a way, each night of poor sleep erodes the shield we rely on to stay healthy. The immune-boosting power of sleep becomes even more apparent when we look at vaccinations. For vaccines to work effectively, our bodies need to build a robust response, creating antibodies that recognize and fight off the specific virus or bacteria in the future. Sleep plays a direct role in this process. Studies have shown that people who receive a flu shot after a night of restful sleep generate a more potent immune response, producing nearly double the antibodies compared to those who are sleep-deprived. In one study, those who slept well in the week before receiving a flu vaccine produced significantly more antibodies than those who were sleep-deprived, and this response endured over the following months. The difference was stark. The well-rested group not only developed stronger immunity, but also had better long-term protection, proving that sleep is an essential factor in vaccine efficacy. As we age, our immune systems naturally weaken, and sleep becomes even more crucial. For middle-aged and older adults, immune function begins to decline, making us more susceptible to infections and illnesses. Quality sleep acts as a natural buffer, helping to maintain the strength of our immune system even as we grow older. This is especially important given that the body's natural defenses against illnesses like pneumonia or influenza become less efficient with age. Sleep offers a way to counteract some of these age-related declines, supporting the immune system's resilience and reducing the risk of chronic illnesses. In this way, sleep serves as a nightly renewal, helping our immune system stay adaptable and ready to face the challenges that come with aging. In fact, the connection between sleep and immune health is so powerful that some researchers suggest that a focus on improving sleep could be a viable public health strategy. Imagine the impact on public health if people prioritize sleep as much as they do nutrition or exercise. When people prioritize their sleep, they're effectively investing in their immune health, which could reduce the burden of infections and lower the rates of hospitalization, especially during flu seasons. 7. Reclaiming sleep for a brighter, longer life. Reclaiming our sleep is one of the most powerful choices we can make for a brighter, healthier future. Sleep, once thought of as simply a nightly pause, has now been proven to hold profound effects on almost every aspect of our lives. It's a source of healing, strength, clarity, and even joy, a true lifeline for mental and physical well-being. Yet, for decades, the importance of sleep has been minimized, buried under the weight of societal pressures to be constantly busy, productive, or entertained. Reclaiming our right to deep, restorative sleep requires a shift in perspective, a decision to prioritize ourselves and our health above the demands of the world. Imagine how you feel after a deeply restful night. You wake up not just refreshed, but almost renewed. Colors seem brighter, food tastes better, and challenges that seemed insurmountable the day before suddenly feel manageable. This isn't a coincidence. It's the result of your body and mind resetting, preparing you to take on life with energy and focus. But if this experience has become rare, it's not because you're aging. It's because so many of us are unknowingly depriving ourselves of this nightly renewal. Studies reveal that as we age, sleep quality often declines, but this decline is not inevitable. With a commitment to making sleep a priority, we can restore and preserve this essential function. Just as we wouldn't skip meals or exercise for weeks on end, we should start seeing sleep as a vital, non-negotiable part of life. The science shows us that sleep doesn't just improve our mood or mental clarity for a day. It can change the course of our entire lives. It's one of the few natural methods proven to increase longevity. Studies tracking sleep habits and health outcomes in large populations find a consistent link. People who sleep 7 to 8 hours per night live longer, healthier lives than those who consistently sleep less than 6. Missing out on sleep doesn't just make us tired. It slowly erodes the health of our heart, immune system, metabolism, and even our DNA. Sleep deprivation leads to the kind of cellular damage and inflammation associated with aging and chronic illness. When we commit to sleeping well, we're making an investment in years of better health. It's like planting seeds that, over time, grow into a more resilient, vibrant version of ourselves. Taking back our sleep also allows us to experience life more fully in the present. We've all had days when lack of sleep leaves us foggy, distracted, and quick to lose patience. Without adequate sleep, our ability to focus, empathize, and connect with others is compromised. Small things can feel overwhelming, and our perspective narrows, making it harder to see beyond immediate frustrations. But when we're well rested, our patience, empathy, and capacity for joy expand. We're more present with loved ones, better able to handle stress, and even find ourselves enjoying simple moments more deeply. Imagine, for instance, being fully engaged in a conversation with a friend or having the energy to try something new without feeling drained or irritable. When we reclaim our sleep, we're actually reclaiming a higher quality of life, one that's marked by sharper awareness and more genuine moments of connection. Restoring our sleep isn't just about adding years to our life. It's about adding life to our years. When we look at how sleep impacts everything from heart health to emotional well-being, it becomes clear that sleep is the foundation on which true wellness rests. In prioritizing sleep, we set ourselves up for a future where we don't just survive but thrive, where aging is not about deterioration, but about living with energy and vitality. Reclaiming sleep is an act of self-care and resilience, a way to protect ourselves from the ravages of time and stress, and an opportunity to experience life in all its fullness every single day. Final words. Sleep is not just an afterthought, nor is it simply a way to recharge. It's a cornerstone of our health, a precious source of renewal that affects every part of who we are. The 7 points we've explored: how sleep protects our health, prevents disease, heals the mind, preserves memory, regulates weight, boosts immunity, and ultimately brings us a longer, brighter life, are all proof of this incredible truth. We've been given a gift in sleep, yet it's often the first thing we sacrifice, thinking we can get by on less. But the science is clear. When we consistently shortchange our sleep, we shortchange our potential for health, joy, resilience, and longevity. Imagine what it would mean to approach each day with a mind that's sharp and clear, a body that feels strong and energized, and emotions that feel balanced and resilient. Each night of deep, restful sleep is a chance to step closer to this version of ourselves. It's a nightly investment in a life with fewer illnesses, sharper memories, and better relationships. By valuing our sleep, we're not just addressing one area of wellness. We're improving the foundation on which everything else rests. So, why not make this change? Why not choose to honor sleep as the powerful tool it is? Small adjustments to our routines. Turning off screens a little earlier, creating a calm sleep environment, and making sleep a priority can start to shift everything. The results will be far more impactful than we might imagine. Better sleep doesn't just mean feeling rested. It means a better quality of life, a future where we age gracefully and maintain our vitality. In reclaiming our sleep, we're reclaiming our potential to live fully and brightly. It's not too late to make this change, and it doesn't require drastic measures. Just a willingness to give sleep the importance it deserves. As you look to the days and years ahead, let sleep be your ally, your healer, and your path to a truly fulfilling life.